What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? We back. We back. Season 5 in the house. What's up? I cannot believe, y'all. We is in the 5th season of the Hood Talks podcast. Season 5. You, we rolling. We is rolling. And yes, I'm still in my basement. Don't judge me. Don't do it. I am still, but hey, we delivering. I am delivering every season. I'm consistent. That's what is happening. I see my folks are tuning in. For those who don't know me, you might be new to the space. My name is Vanna. I go by Vanna, the host and creator of the Hood Talks podcast. And like I said, I am bringing you season 5 of the Hood Talks podcast. Y'all, we have upgraded. It has been it's been a year in so many ways. Oh my God, 2025 came in with a bang. Okay, we got a lot to talk about this season. So much to talk about. But today is Black Love Day, and I wanted to talk about Black excellence. Yes, drop some comments. Hey y'all, hey. Make sure y'all like and share. Again, I wanted to talk about Black excellence on Black Love Day, and we're going to get into all of that. But before I do that, again, make sure y'all like, share, drop a comment, say hey, and we're going to get this show started. Hey, I missed that. I missed my intro. Hey, it always get me like, hey. Woo, what's up, y'all? I've been joined by some great people. Woo, and we got a great conversation again in store for you all today. Again, thank you all for tapping in. We finna be talking Black excellence. Sounds good. I love the sound of it. Black excellence. But we're going to get into it because we know Black excellence is a lot to this conversation. But I'm going to let my guests, hey, y'all, hey.
Hey, y'all, hey.
Hello.
What's up? Yes, come on, y'all. We got to be, I'm imp, because this is the season start of the Hood Talks podcast. So I'm imp, okay? It's 5 years. We doing this. So I'm excited to be back. But I'm also excited to have this conversation because it's Black Love Day. We got to spread the love. We need it, don't we? We need it in 2020.
Yeah. Give yourself a hug. Remember that?
Yes. Black people, give yourselves some love today and some hugs and some love today. Okay? We ain't talking about Valentine's Day. We're talking about Black Love Day. Okay. So let's get into introductions before we get into this great conversation. I want you all to introduce yourselves. And Monica, I'm going to start with you because one thing about the Hood Talks podcast that we are doing this year that is a little bit more new is allowing more folks into our space. So please, Monica, tell the folks who you are.
Yes. Well, thank you, Vanna, for having me and the other guests that you have on the show. I'm looking forward to learning from everybody in this space. My name is Monica Kendall. I am an at-risk and high-risk youth advocate, speaker, and also the founder of Skill Source Talent Development, where we focus on 3 key areas, and that's workforce development, parent engagement and education, and then also professional development for the advancement of youth and families to help them thrive. So I'm excited to be here. This is very meaningful work. I'll pause there and let's hear about the other talent you got in this space.
Come on, Mr. Dr. Ryan.
Hello. Hey, everyone. I'm Dr. Mari Dominica Cockrell, coach, consultant, and author with the bi-state presidents in Missouri and Illinois. St. Louis born and raised, but I try to have that global mindset because I know it's not about where you are geographically, but how you carry yourself throughout the world. I'm representing a couple of different hats here tonight. I'm the board president of Side Hustler Alliance, where we offer education to side hustlers and entrepreneurs, the creator of Side Hustle Honors, an awards platform where we celebrate those who work a 9 to 5 and balance their own business endeavors. And then I'm also the founder of We Speak Healthcare, where I offer deaf dual services and aging consultant.
Sounds like a hustler to me. Hustler, okay. Shout out to you for that space that you're cultivating. Love it, love it, love it. And Mr. Jason, come on, sir. Tell us who you are.
Thank you for the intro. I'm still kind of hyped from the song, from the intro song. But nice to see everybody. My name is Jason Posley. I am a project manager for BJC's Community Health Improvement Team. I focus on all infant and maternal health initiatives. So a lot of the doula integration work that you will see us doing out in community, I try to help lead that from anywhere from just educating and bringing awareness to community about doulas, as well as awareness in the hospital, trying to teach clinical teams and make them aware of how doulas can be a part of the care team, providing access to doulas in the St. Louis community, and also supporting policy in the hospital that respects doulas as part of the maternal care team. So anything doula, anything maternal health, anything Black maternal health, that's me. So I'm excited to be here and get this conversation started.
Yes, I am so grateful for you and doing the work in that space. Y'all know that's my other passion. So folks who know me know I love the Black maternal health work. So I'm so grateful for you in the work that you're doing, which is important to also have a Black man in that space. So shout out to you. So we gonna get into this conversation about Black excellence, and I do want to kick it off as simple as, what does that mean to you all when you think about Black excellence? Because we say that, but what does it really mean? And you know how we go, we flow. So whoever jump in, please jump in.
I feel like it's a mindset. It's not about having to achieve some super feat or be a supernatural athlete or things like that. I think it's knowing that excellence is within you and all about knowing who you are and feeling comfortable. But it's also about legacy. I think that's extremely important to know that you come from kings and queens and to carry yourself like that. So, I mean, Black excellence is definitely something from within and not looking for external validation.
I feel you. I love that. Anybody want to
No,
follow up?
I definitely agree with that. I think Black excellence is really subjective, and it varies from person to person. I think anyone who is obtaining their goals is achieving excellence in some way, form, or fashion. But I think Dr. Cockrell pointed out a great point. Um, your legacy. So it's Black History Month, and I like to always think about, our ancestors. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. So I think we owe it not to only, chase our goals, but also honor them because they did not get a chance to do what we are doing. So when I think about Black excellence, I think about leaving a legacy, obtaining our goals, and just trailblazing a path for those who come behind us.
Yeah, and if I can add to it, I think that when we think about Black excellence, generally, we think about the impact that Black people have had in our society, in our communities, and the achievement that Black people have had. And while we must continue to celebrate that, I think the other thing to think about is that there is Black excellence in the hood. And it makes me think about a community pastor that we had. And he used to always say, "It's greatness." He still tell me that to this day. He be commenting on everything, y'all. Greatness, right? He be all in my inboxes every time he talk about greatness. But there is greatness and Black excellence that's in the hood that may not have been cultivated in a way where they're able to see the impacts that they could make and the achievements that they can have. So I like to just kind of point that out. I know, and also just some for the viewers to know, you might get a little bit of professional Monica and then the real authentic Monica. I don't know when they're going to show up, but they might. So just be mindful of that. But it makes me think about, and I thought this one out before the show, but it makes me think about one particular young person that I worked with that had excellence inside him. He was very talented. But it was very difficult to be able to see the talent that he had. One superpower that the young brother had was that he loved to read. So literacy was his thing. But it was not something that he did publicly because he did not feel that it was going to be accepted by other folks. So he had greatness in him, but it wasn't cultivated or fostered to help him to excel.
You all said a lot, and I do want to second what you said about excellence in the hood. I think the hood births a lot of excellence that a lot of times folks just don't get to tap into because of the environment that they're in. And I think you said something too when we think about our ancestors and how they overcome so much. And it's like nowadays people be wanting to say we are not our ancestors, but I appreciate what you said about like we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Like when they were saying and thinking of what I could do, what I can imagine to do, we are doing some of that work and then birthing the next generation to be like, hey, I can't wait to see what they do, right? In hopes that they do bigger and better. But leaving that legacy to know like what we did at our time is great. What they've done to help us move forward, and we got to help move the next generation forward. And I feel like we've lost that though a little bit. We are so focused on us that we're not thinking about where's a stepping stone to help the next generation go higher. Like we're not thinking of it like a long game. We're thinking we like, well, we ain't made it. I ain't worried about. No, we got to make strides and steps so the next generation can do bigger and better. And we could be like, dang, I couldn't even imagine doing that. Look at you. So
you already Vanna gonna bring me. Can I say one thing? Because I actually wrote this one down. I didn't know you was gonna jump into it that fast, but I wrote this one down because when I think about Black excellence and from a hood perspective, right? Sometimes when folks reach that excellence part and they're able to move on or move out the hood, sometimes they forget to go back. They forget to return. And I think when we talk about Black success and Black excellence, that we have to make sure that we are very clear that that success doesn't just mean leaving the community, but then it also means uplifting the community, and we have responsibility to that.
Anybody want to jump in on that? Because I think that's a valid point.
Nah, I think that's really how you scale your success or tell how successful you are by the impact you were able to make on other people. I always tell my friends, like, I don't call myself successful unless the people around me are successful too. It's not fun for me if I can't bring anybody with me. So I just think that when we talk about Black excellence, it's about how many lives have you impacted, just in your work or in your success. That's why I love what I do in my job. We're literally centered in the community. A lot of places that are underinvested on purpose, because they don't want to see us thrive. Kind of like you said, Monica, they don't want to cultivate the talents that we have in those communities. And our work is devoted to helping them. So I love what you said, Monica.
And one thing I would like to add is it's not about making it out and coming back and buying everyone like Gucci bags and taking them on trips and things like that. It's about teaching them the tools to become successful themselves. So it's like you make it out to make a way, but definitely come back and share the knowledge, not just the resources. And I think that's how we create a sustainable community. And that's so important because someone makes it and then there's all these expectations like, well, I need this, take care of this, build XYZ. then you look and they run out of money and they're starting back in the same place. So I think we just have to have that balance and be mindful and just learn how to educate and uplift our communities to make sure that more people get out. And like you said, make sure we think about the next generation, because I'm a millennial and I know we can be selfish and we're thinking about ourselves and what we can achieve and hitting our own goals. But now we have Gen Z, we have Gen Alpha, we have Gen Beta that started this year. And we really need to think about, if we want to build up our communities, we have to pay it forward. I saw someone in the chat saying we have to pass the torch. We need to kind of let go of our ego, listen to the younger generations, share our wisdom, and just make sure that they have a world that they can thrive in, because we definitely don't want to go backwards.
So Gen Beta, that's this year that just started.
This year, started 2025. Yeah.
Okay.
She put me
I'm
up
learning.
on game because I missed that one.
What you said, I can't keep up. Lord. Can't keep
I wasn't even thinking about, but we do have some babies born this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, and when you think about it, when you said something that just hit me so hard, and I say I used to always say, like, I got a soul that I used to back in the day, like I wanted to be in that era with Dr. Martin Luther King them, and how the power strength was, and I was like, oh Lord, I think I asked for that too much. Lord, it's like it's become a reality. Wait a minute, I don't know if I'm ready for it. But I was just like, we feel like we going back, like literally thinking like they're trying to take us back. And if we're not intentional about what you just said, though, and I so appreciate that, it's not about the materialistic things of getting out, right? It's not about, and that's usually what happens, though. Let's be real, right? You get out, you get your money, you go living in their communities or the bigger urban, what they call them, suburban communities, and you like, oh, I'm over here because it's nice. I ain't got it, which I understand. I got gun bullets in my roof. So I get why you do. But at the end of the day, you go into those spaces thinking that, oh, well, I made it out. I'm good. I ain't got to worry about you. My kids going to a better schools. My kids learning better. Their environment is better. I ain't worried about that. That ain't going to bother me.
But let me also say this. The last week I got to thinking about, like, you can make an impact wherever you are, wherever you're seated, because even though, say, it's not, you're not going back directly to the hood, but you're in the workplace, you made it out, you got your professional job, you're becoming a professional. We have to remember, we don't know everyone's walk of life in the workplace. And it makes me think of my own story, right? I did not have, there wasn't a role model that taught me how to be a professional. In fact, I didn't grow up around any professional people outside of the folks that I seen in my school and your traditional law enforcement, whomever. There were no professional folks that I could look up to and know, what to wear. But my mother, however, though, she did give me, when I started working, going to interview, slacks, the top, black and white, right? I got that from her. So having those caring people or professional development then, or people to take me under their wing to help develop and cultivate me becoming this professional is also important. So that's another way that you can give, can support, uplifting community.
No, real talk. I think somebody said in the chat, shout out to April. She was like, sharing knowledge and resources, 100% agreement, and teaching and uplifting the next generation rather than handouts, which I agree with you too. It's about the information, giving people access to knowledge. We know knowledge is power, which clearly is what, is they're fighting against right now, but knowledge is power. And that breeds Black excellence. The more you know, like you said earlier, the more you know about self, the more you understand what you're up against, and the more that you thrive. That's Black excellence. And that's what a lot of folks are afraid of. Because it's been happening, right? Over centuries. Everything has just gotten, in a sense, like, I know overall, sometimes it doesn't seem like it's gotten better. But if we really look at the history, some of the things have gotten better, but I think we've lost a lot of our independence, which has kind of shifted with the Black excellence, right? Talk about the workplace. I think now I'm 30. Oh, girl, wait. I'm 36. I had to think about it, y'all. Like, wait, I just had a birthday in January. I'm 36. I was like, I had to think about that. But I do think that our generation is more into this now of like entrepreneur, and like, yes, we know we need to have jobs, and we, thinking about that, but we're moving more into like we want to own our own businesses, and looking at more ownership. And I think that is something that we need to talk about more and really get more resources around and supporting, because that is also going to help our communities thrive. That's what I believe.
That is true. And I don't know how real. I don't know. I want to say something, but I'm also like, we got to make sure we give people the right resources, right? Because you can't, like, you got to be able to. We need to have the right resources to help them become thriving entrepreneurs, right? We can't just. I mean, I know, we didn't. A lot of us that made it selling the mixtapes out the trunk and selling the T-shirts and the things, right? But like, let's now help you to get an LLC. Let's now help you to get a business bank account. And let's now help you to learn how to network and do the things, right? So that's important when we talk about the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's a difference from. Don't get me wrong, the hustles, right? the hustles, but that hustle can be very significant if you do it the right way, right?
That's right.
And legitimately do it the right way. It could sometimes be beneficial. But so getting back to, and shout out to the comment of mentors are important. I want to get more personal. I know Monica got a story to tell, so I'm gonna start with you, Monica, to talk about your history. But I would love to talk more about like the journey you all had to get where you are now in your era of Black excellence. So go ahead, Monica, start us off, please.
Sure. Thank you again. My story, I'm from San Bernardino, California, number one. A lot of people, we ain't on a map like that because, LA, Oakland, San Francisco, all the folks then took over. Generally, when you think about California, that's what you're thinking about. But, San Bernardino is actually a place where, it's hard to see Black excellence living in that space. It's a place where, the crime rate triples the state. The homicide rate too. And so I grew up in a space where, there were many challenges. I grew up, I tell you, all of my male siblings are all members of gangs, as was my father. My mother struggled with paranoid schizophrenia. And I ended up, on this path where I dropped out of school in 8th grade. And it was the relationship with a caring middle school counselor that ended up getting me back in school by the time I had become a teen mother. She said one thing to me, and she said that my daughter's education would depend on mine. But she was also a middle school counselor because we had moved to Kansas. So in this country, small, predominantly white town, it was only 0.1% Black at that time, but she was able to recognize and support the hood in me, and also the potential that I had in me. And still to this day, she recognizes both, and I think that was empowering and uplifting. And so, I ended up, pursuing careers that aligned with my lived experience, because I wanted to go from being a problem and the issue to being a solution, and part of, trying to prevent other young people, right? You're looking at me today, but a lot of people don't know when you're looking at me, you're also looking at a once 11, 12, 13-year-old girl that was once charged with a felony for, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon by the time I was 13. You're looking at a girl that had police helicopters, county, city police looking for me. That's the girl that you're looking at. You're looking at a girl whose mother, was looking for me in the streets. I'd be going 2, 3, 4 days, at 12 and 13 years old. So a lot of the challenges that facing young people today are still the same. When we think about poverty and crime and violence and some of those different things. And so that kind of guides my work. So I'll stop there. That's just a little bit, but I know sometimes it's difficult for people to see me today and be able to connect and see that young person that I also represent. So Thank you for allowing me to share.
No, thank you for being willing to share. And I think that's important though, because I think sometimes we give kids unrealistic expectations of like what it's to be somebody like who's made it out, right? You're like, oh, I could never make it out because I've been through and I've done so much. But no, like you like I've been there. I know what you've been through. I know, like I've been in trouble. I got a felony. I've been through all of those things. I had the police chasing me. But look, I'm here now and you can be. And one thing I just love that you said, and I resonate with that so much, was you said, I didn't want to be a part of the problem anymore.
Yeah, but let me correct you one thing. I done got the felony. I don't want my day job thinking I'm a felon. Because they couldn't hold a real one down. Let me tell you, they couldn't hold a real one. But look,
it is thick. It is thick. They charged me.
Yeah, but no, but being for real, I want, let me tell y'all something. It was only a few years ago that I decided to start sharing this story. Because I got to a place where that professionalism really took over. I was like this real corporate Monica that showed up. And it was only in the, last few years where I really felt a responsibility to join the conversations to make a change. So, yeah. But I'll stop there because I want to hear about these other folks.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on the platform and sharing your story. I think your story is very impactful and it's going to help a lot of people. Real talk. But yes, we're going to open it up. Come on, who else want to share? Like, what has your journey been like getting to this space of Black excellence? Doctor, I mean, I know you've had to probably go through some things.
This question was definitely interesting for me because I was blessed with a village raising me. I mean, I have to give credit not only to my parents, very strict educators from East St. Louis, so instilling in me to learn to get my education, but my grandparents, I mean, they were right there taking me to school. I mean, just having that connection, that family, that love, that no matter what may have been going on externally, I felt protected. And also shout out to Greater Mount Carmel Baptist Church. I mean, raised in the church, my family was not just the people I was born into. I was able to look up to people in my church, look up to women who later became my sorors. And I was able to see excellence in Black diversity. So even though we came from a certain zip code, diversity in look and mindset and thought and professions. And I just feel blessed that I was exposed to that early on. And having those diverse perspectives, can come with some downfalls. I mean, hearing that, oh, you don't talk like you're from St. Louis, or, being the only Black person in a room, or getting involved in music and arts and being that only person, I felt like I faced a lot of anxiety and depression. And I don't feel like I really got to my personal journey in the Black excellence that I feel in this moment, honestly, so about 2 to 3 years ago, because I had to accept who I was, what my standard was, not living up to society's expectations of who I should be. Like I said, blessed for the education, but not letting titles and education and job roles define who I am, but focus on my personality and what I can give back and legacy. And why I'm in the work that I am in today is because I experienced a lot of grief and loss early on, losing my grandparents, losing my grandmother on my father's side to a robbery in East St. Louis. I had to face just hardship, trying to strive, trying to be excellent, trying to be in SLU. And a lot of people don't know, I came from making straight A's and honor roll, and I was at St. Louis University making D's and F's. I was struggling, and no one knew that because I felt like I had to keep this persona up. I had to be this perfect person, this academic, and it was hard, especially when life is hitting you, new experiences. And I feel like I just really took all of that, learned from it, grew from it, and starting to share my story to let people know, like, it's not all what you see on social media. Everyone doesn't have that perfect background, even though you might have had a great start. I mean, life is going to take you through some highs and some lows. And if you don't have that community, that strong support, and for those who don't have it, I feel like because I was so blessed for Village, I try to create those villages. I try to create those communities for others because I know that's what made the difference for me. And I just feel like a couple of years ago, I love that it's Black Love Day, because that's when I really feel like I fell in love with myself and who I wanted to be and the impact that I wanted to leave on this world. And it's been a beautiful journey since then. And now I truly feel like I embody Black excellence because it's my story. and it's my standard.
Girl. Yeah, see, two different backgrounds with so powerful, powerful stories. I mean, you just said a whole lot. I think there's a lot of folks who can resonate with what you just said too. Not letting, because we just talked about that, titles and the education define who you are. Falling in love with just yourself.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, first of all, right? That's been my journey. Like, how can I just love me more? And the more that I love me as a Black woman, I get to love other Black people, right? You gotta love first self.
Yeah.
Some people have a hard time with me saying that, but I'm like, no, you really have to love yourself first, and that's how it's going to trickle down to your community and the people around you. So shout out to your village. That just shows how important having a village is. And I say healthy village.
Yeah.
Healthy villages.
Very important.
Healthy villages, because people like, I got a village, but is your village all put together a little bit better? Okay.
Right.
We need healthy villages, but mental health and how that could be a struggle. Like, you touched on so many things. So I just appreciate you sharing that. And I agree with you. A lot of times people see things on social media, especially this younger generation, and they just think like, oh, it's all perfect. And if it ain't perfect, oh, I'm failing. But
and then they don't feel comfortable reaching out for help because they feel like, oh, I put this on social media, I'm supposed to be living this life. When you turn off the live and you're struggling, and they feel embarrassed to ask for help. So we really have to normalize that. Everyone's kind of showing their highlight reel. We have to be mindful of that.
What you said. Come on, Jason, Black man. I know you got some.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to follow them two. I'll try and give a little bit of my personal experience. So, kind of like Dr. Cockrell said, I grew up with the village around me. I was fortunate enough to have both of my parents in the house. They'll be going on 32 years married this year, so praise God for that. But
Black love.
I know, right? Black Love Day, so I had to give them a little credit. But they were always hard on me and my brother growing up. Always about academics and behavior. Still to this day, I hear my dad's voice in my head saying academics and behavior. So it was always just a standard of excellence in my household. A's and B's only. If I brought a C home, my parents would really like get on me a little bit. So I kind of grew up, I would say, with a little bit of pressure on me, but I really appreciated that. Just because circumstances, everything that happened around me, I was able to be centered by that village. Uh, I really grew up around a lot of people that look like me. As we know, kind of like Monica said, everybody's path is different. So a lot of the things she said she grew up around, I grew up around as well. Uh, I had classmates, die when I was in high school. We had about 6 classmates die from gun violence, car accidents, just different things like that. Um, and it was hard to be around. It was very, very traumatic experiences. I was about 15, 16 years old. I really didn't know how to process any of that. Um, but still trying to maintain that academic success and keep striving for excellence. That was just something that's all I knew how to do. So I was able to, get to college. A lot of my friends did not get to go to college. And I was able to go to grad school. A lot of my friends did not get to go to grad school. So I really started dealing with a lot of survivor's remorse. And that's something that Black people do not talk about enough, especially those who are, maybe working in a professional space, or they were fortunate enough to go to school. They kind of feel like an outsider a little bit just because they did something that those who grew up around them didn't. And I'll say definitely an experience that shaped me. About 5 years ago, actually, yeah, just last month, 5 years ago, I did have a best friend who passed away due to gun violence. Um, and I would say that definitely kind of fed into my survivor's remorse as well. He was someone who came to church with me, who was always on campus with me, even though he did not attend my school. People knew his name. People knew he was always with me. So when that happened, I definitely started feeling like, how did I get to survive? And everything around me is just kind of like different. Uh, and then we get to work. I get in a professional space, and I might feel like a survivor from where I came from, but in a professional space, I feel like an imposter. So, really understanding, kind of being stuck in the middle of those two, it has definitely taken a toll on me mentally. Um, and I just wanted to be transparent and share that because I know it's a lot of Black men who go through that, especially young professionals. So, yeah, again, shout out to my mom and dad. Um, I want to give honor to them, but this is definitely what I'm kind of going through from then to now.
I just want to say real quick, Monica, shout out to you for being transparent in that space. One thing that I am trying to be so much intentional about this season is just more Black men voices in their stories and their experiences, because I tend to feel like you all feel like you can't come to the table and share. And you hit on so many different things that I would love for us to talk about, but I'm gonna let Monica get her.
I'm gonna try to just make a couple of points. I loved hearing Jason and Dr. Cockrell's stories and upbringing. And while they had a village, I also just want to make the point that even for folks who may not have those same villages, it only takes a few caring people to make a difference in a young person's life. So I shared the school counselor, but I also had my brother when I was out there. I don't know how he even seen, hey, you're gonna be great, right? And he's sitting me down and like, you the one of us that's gonna make it. You're smart, you're these things, and always encouraging me. So I just wanted to make that point. And then also, Jason, I actually didn't think about it until you shared the survivor's remorse. And I think, being transparent, that's impacted me maybe in a different way, because I feel like I got to show up, and now I'm everybody's attorney. I'm everybody's advocate. I'm everybody's teacher. I'm trying to put all the information out there to help them educate themselves. And like now I'm that call that people make because they may not know other folks. And so having to navigate that, and sometimes feeling a little bit more responsibility. So thank you so much, Jason, for that.
And definitely, Monica, I feel that way too. But that's something we talked about, like sharing resources and knowledge. That's something Dr. Cockrell talked about. Um, I think it is a fine balance that we have to find, and okay, sharing this knowledge and resources, but also taking care of ourselves. Um, we, I'm sure everybody on this call, we care passionately about people. We want to save the world. But honestly, if we could just impact a few lives, that's like a large change. So I definitely get what you're saying. I feel the same way, always answering calls, trying to help out the next person.
I think that becomes the barrier too, is that when people do get out, whew, this is probably where I'm gonna ruffle some feathers, but I keep it real and raw here on the Hood Talks podcast. That's why we got this space. But I think one thing that people in our community we fail to do is, if someone makes it out, instead of being inspired, we tend to want them to come save us.
That, or just the constant reminder, like, don't forget where you came from, right? Like, I got a cousin, boy, she don't never let me forget, and I don't never forget where I came from, right? But like sometimes it's different rules you got to work with, and making it out. Mm.
And it's like, I want you to come too, but I can't carry your load with you. Like, like I can help you. I can tell you how I did it. I can give you the tools. I can give you the game, but I can't carry your load as well. So you got to pick and choose, but you got to want it for yourself, right? It goes back to Harriet Tubman, right? Everybody can't go, unfortunately. And because you have to want to come. You gotta want to know. You gotta want to put in the effort, because what we all say is not easy. It takes a lot. You have to want to commit to it too. So I can't be the one. I can give you all I can give you. I can give you I can give you the same blueprint that I use to get out. And if you don't apply it to your life, then what's the point, right?
Yeah, I think, I think it's heavy. I agree, but then a part of me wants to disagree, because I think that most people just in the world, whether they in the hood or wherever, I tend to think that most people want better, want good for themselves, for their families, for their friends, for their children. But I think sometimes it's the lack of representation, right? So if I'm the only one, let me tell you, I had a conversation with my brother, and even when I go back to San Bernardino, they be calling me the president of San Bernardino, all kind of stuff, right? Because there's so few. There are some that have made it out, don't get me wrong, but sometimes there's also few that people know. A lot of the remarks that my friends give me is, Monica, think about everybody that we, went to school with, that we grew up. Who else know? And I'm like, I'm not that important. Here, I've done it. Let me help you. But I think for some folks, they don't actually feel that it's attainable. And it's heavy, because let me tell you, it's hard work. It's hard work to get from dropping out in 8th grade to get to, at least I made it to grad school, and I've had a great career. But that was some hard, difficult work that nobody prepared me for. So it came down to like this goal that I had. I remember being 12 years old. I remember where I stood. I go back to that same place every time I go back to California. And I said to myself, I'm going to make it out of here, because I was tired of getting evicted. I was tired of being, hungry, all these different things that I was seeing. And so for me, I had that, what we call intrinsic motivation. So some of it was inside of me to want that for myself, but I didn't know how. So I think sometimes it could also just seem like a goal that's not attainable. And, for any of us that has a goal that's, that feels unattainable, what do you do?
No, that's real. I can understand that. Now, I haven't went to grad school, so I went to Vanna. But I haven't touched those, and when I say, I don't know if I even aspire to touch it. So shout out to all of y'all.
And that's okay, because college ain't the only way. Like, I went, but college isn't the only way. It was the way that made sense for me, right? That was the best tool that teacher, that school counselor knew to tell me.
But I would say too, though, if I feel like if I had someone sitting me down and saying, you're smart enough, you're good enough, you can go that way, you can go that route, and helping me in that space, I probably would have ended up there. But I don't feel like I've had that experience to be like someone saying, like what you said, like, let me take your hand and you are good enough. You can go here. You can go to this college. You can do that. Because even just applying for college sometimes feels like, it's a blur. So the steps to getting there, like you said, sometimes, and if somebody around you don't know, they never did it, you're not going to try to go achieving that either, unless you really have somebody close to you who you like, can you help me?
And then we also talking about the hood, right? Because sometimes in the hood, like I wasn't necessarily the cool person when I was in the books and going to school. Like, I was more popular when I was doing the negative things.
That goes back to,
now you got to fight the peer pressure.
Yes.
And then your own self-esteem, and then questioning who you are, which direction to go. So sometimes also supporting our community also means working against our community and some of the negative things in the community, right? Look, we got to, it's the person that come home from prison and jail, they got a party popping before sometimes the young person that's going to school.
That's real.
And I just want to add on, like you said, working sometimes against our community. I feel like we have to be very mindful of media, because you might not have that person in your home telling you, I believe in you, you can do X, Y, Z. And so people are looking at social media and TV and the music that we're listening to. And that's why we have to make sure that we are just broadcasting the positives in our life and our backgrounds and our stories, so that people can still relate to us, even though we might not be in the home with them, because that's so important. Just the information that we're feeding ourselves. And then I just want to go back to what Monica said about just like the mindset, having that intrinsic motivation. And I think as a community, we can do a better job at teaching some of those soft skills, teaching about mindset, teaching about boundaries, along with those technical skills, because a lot of times it's all about how you view yourself, what you think when you look in the mirror. And that's so important. We don't have those conversations. People brush off like meditation. Oh, that's weak, or we can't do that, or, we can't have journaling or expressing ourselves. And we have to normalize those things. And I know that's harder, especially for people who had different backgrounds or feel like they're struggling to say, oh, I don't want, my friends to see that I'm journaling, or, I'm taking the time to focus on my mental health, or I'm talking to a therapist. But we have to just get better at being transparent and sharing stories like these so people know that it's okay, and to start really from the inside.
And what Dr. Cockrell just said could save some lives, because we got young people with low emotional intelligence that's resorting to lethal weapons to solve conflict.
Simple things like you stepped on my shoe or you looked at me wrong. Yeah, but I call that the healing process, that a lot of what we need in our community, and that's where my change came from. People ask me like, where did the switch come from? The switch came from when I started looking at my own experiences and my trauma, and really like you said, thinking through like, well, what do I want versus what is the outside telling me? What do I feel? And just learning more about myself. And why am I feeling angry? Like I've had my daddy tell me I was angry, but that, let me tell you why. But when I thought about it, I can't even express why. But if I go back to all the things that I've experienced, the hurt, the disappointment, the neglect, all of these things, that's what's causing me to be angry. And now taking accountability for it for myself. One thing I just saw, and I think a lot of people don't, which is you have to really forgive people. And I'm talking to people who have been harmed by folks. You really have to forgive people for yourself. It's not even no longer about the other individual. It's for you, and take your power back. Because if you don't, and I say this very much of like my own experience recently, I saw somebody that did something to me, y'all, some crazy stuff out on the beach. And I was just like, you out here living on the beach and I'm out here like, like, what? This is crazy. And you holding on to it. And they living their life. And you see how so many of us are crashing out, just crashing out. Viral moments of people just crashing out at McDonald's drive-thrus. You know what I mean? Like wild stuff. It's because of what you said. Like we don't know what they have kept and experienced for so long. It just keeps building up, building up, building up. Nobody's addressing it. And then one day it's something so simple and it's all like a big blow up. Unexpected blow up. And you're like, wow, why did you blow up on me about that? Because it was all the other things. What they say, the iceberg. A lot of youth are walking around with an iceberg. And we're not. Yeah. We see only the top.
And I can say I've worked with young people. I was a juvenile probation officer, and I also shout out to Missouri. I worked at Missouri Division of Youth Services, and so we did a lot of therapeutic work with young people. And I worked with all the young people on my dorms were males, and just working with them through channeling and identifying the emotions that they were experiencing. I can both say, one, it was a challenge, and then two, it was just so fulfilling to see them work through those different things, and very impactful. So shout out to DYS for the work they're doing, and my first professional job. How about that?
It takes a lot of work and a lot of resources. I want to say, and I want to ask you all, and going back, because I think this has to do with like the mentality. I know Jason touched on this a little bit too. Two things. First, imposter syndrome, right? We talk about that. Like, how do you really navigate that? Because I think a lot of our youth are sitting in that when they are, like you said, maybe they do really like writing, or they like yoga or meditation, and they really like that, but they can't be there or they can't do that because they homie like, dude, we about to go hit up the block with the girls. Or maybe they even pressured by their parents, like, you weird. Why you over? You see, like the like, how. So he's probably, or they are probably dealing with imposter syndrome because they got to act this other way when in reality they want to do the things that make them feel good, but they can't. So they might be trying to gang bang, and that really ain't they thing. Like, a lot of them ain't about it, right? Let's keep it real. A lot of them ain't really truly about it. They just doing it because, like you said, it's the cool thing. We see the rappers, we see it all in our media and the music. So how do you address and how do you like work through imposter syndrome? What is some of the things that you all have used to kind of do that? I know it's in a different lane. Like, I know Jason, and I feel you there too. Like, when I get in some of these spaces, I'm just like, do I really deserve to be here? Like, y'all talking this language I don't understand. What y'all really saying? Can y'all break this down a little bit? Like, what do I supposed to be in these spaces? But how do you really work through imposter syndrome?
I think you pose the question both from like as a professional in the workplace and then
both.
Good, right? So both. So I'm trying to figure out how to address. Let me first address the first one in the workplace as a professional. I think self-work, self-discovery, and confidence building generally could support. I think we have to stop telling ourselves that we don't deserve to be in those spaces, because we do. I did not think that I deserved to be in the spaces when I was, working with doctors or working with judges, or, and I was chasing these careers. And I think that's where I'm at in the space, because I was trying to prove to myself that I was good enough, that I was smart enough, that I could just continue to do, all these great things. And that's okay. But once I start letting that chasing more things, building more skills just to prove to myself that I was smart, brilliant, intelligent, and I could do it, and I was qualified, and just started believing it for myself and building my confidence, that broke for me. So that's what it took for me. That may not be the same for everyone else. And I think for young people in the hood, going back to what Dr. Cockrell said, right? The media, the different things. I think that we could look to people in our community that didn't made it out, whether especially if they in entertainment, sports, or wherever. And we need more amplified voices, no matter where we're seated, however we're situated, to share these positive messages. I'll tell you, even Sexy Red, right? A part of me likes Sexy Red though, because she representing for a specific group of girls that you don't know nothing about. And they need to be represented. But a part of her could take that message and do something positive with it, I believe. Not necessarily a fan of the messages. I think it promotes, and I don't want to go off a cuff here, but I think it promotes the violence and harm done to girls in the hood. But she is representing for that group of girls, and they deserve that. So I think no matter where we're seated, if we are in entertainment, education, we a judge on the bench, we, the trash man, wherever we are, we can all come together and amplify our voices for positive in our hood to make those things acceptable. We have to make education acceptable and something that our young people are proud of in the hood, rather than something they feel like they got to hide.
I love what you said about self-discovery. And I think it's important to create a space where people can discover their sense of self. And I feel like I experienced imposter syndrome the most when I felt like I was trying to be like everyone else in the room and not confident in who I am. And one thing that I feel like has helped is just having a mindset of gratitude. It's like, if I was presented with this opportunity to be there, then there's purpose in it. And that's so important to me. And I think also just being a death doula, I always think with my own mortality in mind. So I'm like, I don't want to get to the end of my life feeling like I was trying to be someone else. I was trying to talk like someone else. I was trying to look like someone else. I was trying to live in someone else's shoes. I have to know that I lived my own life authentically. And I think as long as you start to feel comfortable in your own skin, whether you're making mistakes or doing everything right, I feel like that can help you combat imposter syndrome, because at the end of the day, everyone has their own unique journey, their unique path and unique voice. And it's up to you to use the time that you have on this earth to make sure that your voice your purpose is fulfilled. And that's what's helped me.
Yeah, Vanna. I think kind of like what Monica said, uh navigating imposter syndrome, like where you from, and navigating it in the workplace is two different things. I think navigating it where you from is way easier, just personally. As I grew up, I feel like if you stay true to yourself, people will respect that. And if they don't respect it, then you probably shouldn't be around them. I think we all have people around us, friends, etc., who do things that we don't partake in. They just have a different lifestyle. And when I'm around those friends or those people around me, they always say, "Oh, Jason, stay at home," or "Nah, Jason, he don't do that. He doesn't be on there, like, leave him alone. Like, Jason, go the other way." And they respect me for who I am. And that's what I love, like, about being where I'm from. But I feel like when we go in the workplace, and this is me being personal. I'm sorry I took my professional cap off, but when we in the workplace, and we have to put on this professional hat, and we have to show up in spaces and try and keep it together. And me still being a young professional, it's so hard for me to kind of turn down my inner St. Louis a little bit. And so when I get in these spaces, I'm like, "Ooh, is this right for me? Do I deserve to be here? I know I made it here. I know I was chosen to be here, but is this really for me?" And then I get in my head, and I'm just like, "Oh man, did I send this email in the wrong fashion? Did I mess up during this presentation? Like, oh, I hope they not thinking about me like, oh, this black guy, he just like he doesn't belong here." And those type of negative thoughts can really bring a dark cloud over you. And it's something I fight with every day. So I thank Dr. Cockrell for what she talked about with gratitude, because I'm going to take that and try and use it every day. Knowing that, like, I was presented this opportunity for a reason, and that's how I'll try and fight this imposter syndrome and navigate it. But I don't have the answers right now, Vanna, on how to navigate like it in a professional space. I'm not going to lie to you.
If I could add one thing, Vanna, what Jason just said. Remember, I said we need people, no matter where you're situated, to show up for people. One thing that's been helpful for me also with that imposter syndrome in the workplace is seeing other people that look like me showing up more themselves. Now we can't go, you can't go too far, right? Because there are some things that are not, I'm just gonna say that ain't right for the workplace. Okay. And we have to have some balance. And we got to teach our young people some balance. And that's where a lot of my work focuses on. However, being authentic is powerful. And when you see other people that's authentic, it just lifts a weight off of your shoulder and gives you permission to show up more yourself too. So I'll pause there.
And Jason, let me say, I'm struggling too. Believe me, very much struggling.
So, yeah, Savannah, you know what type of spaces we in sometimes. But Monica, you did bring up a great point, and I have to shout out. I do work for like 3 amazing Black women in leadership, and they have made the space way more comfortable for me since I've been working with them. Yeah, shout out to all of them, like Deidre, Denise, and Valencia. They have made the space I work in way more comfortable for me to be authentically me. But it's still tough. It is still tough.
It is, because you get in other rooms. It might not necessarily always be your supervisor. It might be some of your coworkers. It's the other people that you got, like you said, go present, especially when you present in different areas, going to conferences and all those things. And I show the struggle. You might need to help me, Monica, because I still struggle with turning off the authenticness. I be at the meetings crying. Like,
and you oh my gosh, I don't want to. One thing, going back to what Dr. Cockrell said, when y'all watch this, she really dropped some jewels. because there are also those soft skills. Let me tell y'all, when I got in these professional spaces and these conferences, and we eating real formal meals, right? I ain't eat no formal meals. I was thankful if I got a meal. How to have the etiquette to dine and converse with my colleagues in the workplace, that's a skill. That's a skill. Etiquette is there's still a skill for that. So, those soft skills are very important.
It is. And then don't be, I think for me, I had no, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like my journey is weird, but I had no intentions. I wasn't really striving. So I give God all of the glory for where I am now today. But I think for me, I have to find this balance of knowing, even if I decide to do the soft skills and I do get into these spaces, that doesn't mean that I'm turning off me. Because I had this thing where I'm like, I want to show up 100% me. Clearly, the hood. Like, why I gotta be different, right? But also finding the balance to say, even if I do shut it down a little bit, Savannah, it's okay. You're still you. It doesn't change you. So, but yes, shout out to y'all. I got one last closing questions. I told y'all we could be here all night, talking about these great things. I do want to ask you all one thing, and then if you feel the need to want to share how people can tap into you, if they want to connect with you, please let them know your social media handlings and all of that good stuff. Okay, we're gonna start with you, Monica. The question is, what's one piece of wisdom you would have given your younger self today?
I think I would have just big up myself, and I think that I would have encouraged my younger self to know that you are beautiful, you're smart, you can do it, and that you will have support down the road. But I think that I just needed to see a little bit further. Like, I had it in me. I had it in me at 12 to say, I'm going to come back here and make something of myself. So I believed it. But I think I would have just said, you're beautiful, you're smart, you got it, do your thing. And I think that's what I would have told myself, really.
All right. And if anybody want to tap into you, where can they find you? Monica, LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah. So you can find me on Facebook, Monica Kendall. Kindle like the Kindle Fire, they ain't pay me for. Or www.skillsourcet, as in Tom, D as in David, .com. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Monica Kendall, but just keep in mind that I also do still have a day job. And so most of the content that you'll see, you might be confused because I post about my advocacy and my day job on there. So there you go.
All right. Come on, doctor. Want me to repeat the question? You got it.
The piece of advice I would give my younger self, not to get too emotional, but I would tell my younger self not to give yourself a permanent ending for temporary pain. And like I mentioned early on, struggled a lot with anxiety and depression. And there were times that I did not want to be here. And I'm so thankful that I had my village, my faith, a little voice telling me to keep going, because my goodness, to talk to little Maria and for her to see everything that she possibly could have missed out on breaks my heart. So for those that are struggling, just know, take a pause, use a semicolon, don't let a bad hour, a bad day, a bad week, even a bad year be that ending, because you just have no idea how much better things can get and will get. And there is help. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Man, that one. How can people reach you if you want to share?
Yeah, you can find me on social medias, Maria Dominica on LinkedIn, Maria Cockrell. Happy to connect.
Yes. All right, Mr. Jason.
Oh, okay. One thing I would tell My former self or my younger self, I would say is don't shy away from what makes you different, just because it makes those around you uncomfortable. Rather just embrace it, and fully dive into who you are, um, and see where that takes you. I think that's pretty much it. Like just being a younger black man. I think Dr. G Millie said it here in the chat. Like, does your success ever make you feel like an imposter in your culture? It made me feel more guilty for like making it out, like survivor's guilt a little bit, and I kind of tried to dumb it down to make my friends and others around me feel more comfortable. But in that, I lost out on a lot of opportunities that would have helped me grow. So I would tell my younger self that, like, embrace who you are, embrace the opportunities that you get. And you could find me on LinkedIn, Jason Posley. Um, yeah, that's my most active social media, LinkedIn.
Well, I just want to thank you all for joining me for this important conversation and all the gems that you all dropped. I appreciate you being vulnerable. I appreciate you sharing your stories and your experiences. And I know it is going to impact somebody in this journey. And when somebody taps in, oh, season 5 has begun. That means your girl is busy. Okay. Yes, y'all, season 5 is it's just so crazy to me to be saying season 5. It feels like I was just here, but I really wasn't. I know we stopped in August of last year, and I've been doing these in-person events. So it feels like I'm still was working when I supposed to been taking a break. Okay. But hey, girl, hey. So let me say, we got so much in stored. Shantae Love is still here. I know y'all met her last year. She is still here. She's coming back. We're bringing our The Hood Hills segment back, where we talk to all of the professionals and people in the mental health space about healing, about therapy. We got a great lineup, so she will be back as well. I will be bringing you all the Hood Needs segment, more of these great conversations. And shout out to the Hood Connect. You all know 2 years ago, I started a nonprofit organization. The Hood Connect is coming back this year. Shout out to our partners, Healthy Blue. We got IHN supporting us. SSM Moms Line is going to be supplying some sitters for our events. So we got a whole lot going on. But our events, live and in-person events, are coming back. It's called the Link Up. We're going to be talking about all things social determinants of health. Free events. My girl Lush Libations is in the chat, but yes, she will be there back bringing us those great mocktails. We got DJ, we got, I love how to do appetizers, and we're doing it at the Trolley Room. Our first event at the Trolley. We're doing it at the Trolley Room in Forest Park. Okay, I cannot wait. Y'all, the Trolley Room is a nice space. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. And I want you all to tap in, because these events, they're not like your average resource fairs. Yes, we're going to have services. People are going to be there, health services. We're going to have resources for the community, but we're going to be bringing some real and raw conversations and spaces for us to connect with the people who we're talking about, professionals. And there's a lot of us. There's a lot of Black faces in these professional spaces that want to tap in and say, hey, how can I support you? Get in some of these rooms. Get in the right rooms. This is one of the right rooms that you should be in. Get you some help. Get you some resources, but make you some connections. Because I cannot say here, you all, you might agree, being connected is important. A connection can take you a long way. So come, I put the websites, go to our website, go sign up for the events, tap in. It is free. It is free. And we're going to be having some great conversations in person as well. So tap in, you all. The Hood Connects. Check out the website. Check out all we do. And keep tapping into the Hood Talks podcast, because we're going to continue bringing all of what we brought tonight on so many different levels. Okay, so enjoy y'all night, be safe, have a great weekend, and don't forget to like and share this video. See y'all later. We out. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and also follow us on all our social media. And you can find all of that information at www